Dear students, I am Kutsia Fatma. Course name is Psychology and Guidance in Education. Today we will discuss about guidance and counseling, objectives and principles of guidance and counseling, as well as services of guidance and counseling. Objectives of the lesson. This topic is to prepare the participants to offer help, support, understanding, and possible alternatives that could lead to the client to the productive life. So by the time you have completed this chapter, you will be able to differentiate between guidance and counseling, discuss the objectives and principles of guidance and counseling, discuss the services of guidance and counseling, explain the directive and non-directive counseling. Let's see what is guidance. Guidance comes from the word guide, which means to instruct somebody. It is a form of assistance given to individuals to solve their problems. We can say that guidance is an educational service designed to help students make more effective use of their school program. It focuses on individual self-direction as well as growth. Guidance also helps the individuals to adjust to the environment. These are two definitions of guidance. First definition is by Ruth and Strang, who define guidance as a process of helping any individual through his own effort to discover his potentialities for his personal happiness and usefulness. So, by going through this definition, we can say that guidance is an assistance made available by a counselor to any individual of any age to help him direct his own life, develop his own point of view, and make his own decisions. Second definition is by J.M. River. He defined guidance as a process through which an individual is able to solve their problems and pursue a path suited to their abilities and aspirations. It helps the students to know their skills, interests, and personality, through which an individual is able to solve their problems. Characteristics of guidance. These are few characteristics of guidance. So first characteristics is it is a process. It is a process and deals with the problems of adjustment and other problems of life. That problems can be related to education as well as vocational problems. Guidance is a generalized service because it is carried on by teachers, parents, relatives to assist or help the individual when he becomes unable to solve the problems of life. It is generalized and specialized service because guidance program is a system of services designed to improve the adjustment of every person for whom it was organized. In this way, we can say that it is a service that is organized, not an incidental activity of any institution. And last, it is centered around the needs and aspirations of students. It helps the students and their parents to make right and appropriate plans for their future. Objectives of guidance. Guidance services coordinate all the activities of all workers under any institution, such as teacher or the other staff member or students, as well as the activities of the person providing guidance. It assists developing higher attitude towards school activities. It assists children adapting according to the school traditions and regulations of the schools. It helps children in developing their physical and emotional stability. It addresses the problems regarding adjustment in the institution and the strategies to control them, and making child self-dependent. Through this, child is able to make decisions of his own. Principles of guidance. Guidance is all-round assistance given to any individual. It is a process of providing assistance given to an individual to solve their problems. Guidance helps the individual to adjust his environment. It is lifelong and continuous process. Guidance can be provided to all individuals in any institution, and even it can be provided to parents. Principals are also responsible for facilitating their school's interaction with parents. This responsibility includes working with parents when disciplinary issues arise when students are not succeeding academically. Flexibility. Flexible thinking allows us to consider situations from different perspectives. So, the person providing guidance should be flexible enough to coordinate the situations. And guidance is given by qualified and trained persons. Next, need for guidance and counseling. Everyone needs assistance at some time in his or her life. The major reasons for which guidance is required are psychological reasons, sociological reasons, and educational reasons. Psychological reasons. Guidance and counseling needs connected with psychological problems. Test anxiety. Families believe that exams are the best way to prepare their children for their future. Exams have a profound importance in the education system. So there is a pressure of family on the students which causes in test and exam anxiety. Then lack of self-confidence. The person who is guiding the child or individual tries to get information about the causes of self-confidence. What causes the lack of self-confidence and how guidance can provide help to individual to gain confidence. Sad feeling or depression. Sad feeling is a natural human emotion, and like all other emotions, sad feelings come and go. Sad feelings and depressions are the normal reactions to the twists and turns of life. In this case, the guide's role is very important. He or she should develop good relationship to whom guidance is provided. Individual differences. Individual differences stand for the variations among individuals in regard to a single characteristics or number of characteristics. It is stand for those differences which in their totality distinguish one individual from another. For example, physical differences, differences in intelligence, differences in attitude, differences in achievement. Sociological reasons. Sociological reasons may include personal and social development of individuals as well as holistic personality of individuals. For example, develop self esteem, develop a positive attitude, make a healthy choice, respect others, have a sense of responsibility, and to develop good relationship with others. So, the guide should keep in mind all these things when providing guidance. Similarly, guidance is also provided to the individual how to use the leisure time. The role of guide is to train the child for the worthy use of his leisure now and in the future. It is very important to educate the pupils on how to make the best use of their free time. That has a great impact on their physical and mental well-being. Better use of available opportunities. The person who is providing guidance should keep in mind the interests and personality of the individual to whom guidance is provided and suggest alternatives according to their interests and aptitudes. Next, educational and professional reasons. In the field of education, guidance is provided to support students' learning. It helps in academic growth of individuals. Similarly, it enables learners to achieve desirable career prospects through prospective choices of courses. It helps individuals to attain exceptional standards. Similarly, it guides the individuals towards the right direction and profession. And guide also prepares the individuals for challenging educational and professional situations. Now we'll discuss what is counseling. Counseling is a specialized service of guidance, and it is an enabling process designed to help through learning to take responsibility and to make decisions for himself or herself. So, a helping relationship includes someone seeking help, and definitely there will be someone who is giving help, and the person who is providing help should be capable, qualified, and trained. Counseling enables the individuals to know themselves, possible future situations, so that they make substantial contributions to the society to solve their problems. Definitions of counseling. Smith defined counseling: a process through which counselor assists the counselee to make interpretations of facts relating to a choice, plan, or adjustment which he needs to make. We can say that counseling is a healing process through which the teacher or counselor seeks to establish relationship in which the children can express their thoughts and feelings on their own situations. Hence, counseling helps individuals make their own decisions from the available choices. Rogers defined counseling as a series of contacts with the individual which aims to offer assistance in changing his attitudes and behavior. So we can say that according to Rogers, the main goal of counselor is to change the attitude and behavior of the counselee. Another concept of counseling is to use a problem solving process to manage stress that facilitates interpersonal relationship among clients. So we can say that by going through these definitions, that counseling involves two individuals, one seeking help and the other a professionally trained person who can help the first. That help can be related to any issue or problem. Next, we will see the qualities of counselor. The counselor should have friendly nature. He or she should be fair and sincere in dealings. They should have patience and tactfully deal with situation. A counselor should respect and maintain confidentiality of clients. They should listen attentively to the client, maintain emotional stability as well. Purposes of counseling. Counseling aims at helping the clients understand and accept themselves as they are. And counseling is to help the student to help himself or herself. The main objective of counseling is to bring about a voluntary change in the client. To help the student know himself better, his interests, abilities, aptitudes, and opportunities is very important for a counselor to understand and discuss. The counselor should be qualified and experienced enough to solve the problems of individuals, and he or she should have vast information regarding the issues and challenges. Encouragement. Encouragement is very important in the process of counseling. Being encouraging as a counselor for your client is very essential. This is very important technique that will help facilitate confidence and respect between both parties. Next, principles of counseling. The first principle of counseling is principle of acceptance. Accept the counselee with his physical, psychological, social, economical, and cultural conditions. This is very important for counselor to keep in mind these all aspects while counseling. Second, principle of communication. Communication should be verbal as well as non-verbal and should be skillful. So counselor can use the verbal techniques as well as non-verbal techniques. for the purpose of counseling, because these two type of techniques help the counseling process easier. And this is also important for the mutual understanding of both counselor and counselee. Third principle is principle of empathy. Instead of showing sympathy, put yourself in one's shoes and then give reflections accordingly. Empathy is the ability to identify with a person, or the capacity to understand and feel what other person is experiencing from within. This is the ability to share the emotions of others. So that he or she may be free to discuss and share his own problems and issues. Now we will discuss the phases of counseling. As we discussed that counseling process is a planned, structured dialogue between a counselor and a client. For example, students of university may be anxious about how to study in a university, clarity on education or career education, have concerns with self-esteem or any other concern for which individual feels stressed out or feel difficulty in relationships. Let's discuss the first phase, that is establishing relationship. Establishing relationship is the first step that involves building a relationship and focuses on engaging clients to explore issues that directly affect them. Client also make inferences about the counselor and the counseling situation. Ensure client is comfortable. Address the client by name. Invite social conversation to reduce anxiety. And counselor should watch for non-verbal behavior as signs of client's emotional state. So establishing relationship between counselor and client is very important for making decisions of life or decisions regarding education or career. So next phase is assessment and diagnosis. Assessment is very important for in-depth understanding of the client and mental disorders. So assessment can be done through psychological test. इसके अलावा जो काउंसलर है वो खुद भी अपने एक्सपीरियंस की बेस पे असेस कर सकता है काउंसलिंग के प्रॉब्लम्स क्या हैं, उसको कहाँ कहाँ सिचुएशंस को समझने में प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. Similarly, interview is very important strategy for assessment and diagnosis of the problems of counseling, and assessment of life history is very important, in which if there is good relationship between counselor and counselee, then counselee will not hesitate to share each and every aspect of his or her own life with the counselor. Third phase is setting goals. Goals serve three functions in counseling process. First motivational, then educational, and third evaluative. Counseling goals also conceptualizes as either process or outcome goals. This goal setting is very important to facilitate behavioral change and improving the client's ability to establish and maintain a relationship. Similarly, it will enhance the client's effectiveness and the ability to cope with situations. Next is intervention and problem solving. Once goals between counselor and the client are created, they can determine the intervention strategy. For example, include group counseling, family, couple, and mostly individual. Through problem solving strategies, intervention can be done. Problem solving strategies include problem detection, problem identification, identification of alternative solutions, decision making, execution and verification. यानी पहली चीज़ क्या है, प्रॉब्लम को डिटेक्ट करना कि प्रॉब्लम है क्या. ऐसा ना हो कि प्रॉब्लम कोई और हो और डायग्नोस जो है वो प्रॉपर ना हो पा रहा हो. तो प्रॉब्लम को डिटेक्ट करना सबसे पहला काम है, उसके बाद प्रॉब्लम को डिफाइन करना। देन फाइंड आउट द अल्टरनेटिव सॉल्यूशंस टू द प्रॉब्लम। उसके ये नंबर 1 सोल्यूशन, नंबर 2, अगर एक नहीं तो दूसरा, दूसरा नहीं तो तीसरा, वो काउंसलर को प्रेजेंट करे। अच्छा, देन काउंसलर ने और काउंसली ने मिलके जो अल्टरनेटिव सोल्यूशन थे उसको सामने रखते हुए डिसीजन मेकिंग करनी है कि कौन सा सोल्यूशन जो है वो सूटेबल है इन कंडीशंस के अंदर। तो उसके बाद उसको अप्लाई करना है, यानी एग्जीक्यूट करना है उस सोल्यूशन को अपनी लाइफ में। तो जब एग्जीक्यूशन हो रही होगी तो उसकी साथ साथ वेरिफिकेशन भी हो रही होगी कि ये सूट किया है या नहीं किया, या इसमें कौन से प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं, तो ये चीज़ें भी साथ साथ देखी जा रही होंगी। एंड लास्ट इज एवेल्यूशन एंड फॉलो अप। एक दफ़ा जब सारा प्रोसेस हो गया, उसकी एग्जीक्यूशन हो गई, तो उसके बाद उस एग्जीक्यूट करने के बाद उसको, यानी एक काउंसलर को एक सिचुएशन का हल देने के बाद, उसका मसले का हल उसको एग्जीक्यूट करने के बाद उसको वैसे नहीं छोड़ देना चाहिए, बल्कि उसके साथ फॉलो अप मीटिंग्स रखनी चाहिए। So counselor should set up a brief follow-up counseling session with the counselee. Although जितना भी काउंसलिंग प्रोसेस पहले हुआ उसका पर्पस जो था वो एक सक्सेसफुल टर्मिनेशन था, एक सक्सेसफुल एंडिंग था, लेकिन साथ साथ फॉलो अप भी बहुत ज़रूरी है। अगर बाद में भी उसकी एवेल्यूशन होगी और काउंसलर फॉलो अप रखेगा, तो इसका मतलब है कि काउंसलर जो है वो अपने क्लाइंट को ज़्यादा एम्पावर भी कर रहा है, और उसको क्लाइंट को उसकी एक सपोर्ट भी जो है वो मिल रही है even after the end of counseling process. Okay, next is guidance and counseling services in schools. Guidance and counseling centers offer services to students, parents, teachers, and others. Others may be related to the other individuals of the institution. Now we will see the types of counseling. First type is directive counseling, second type is non-directive counseling. Directive counseling. Directive counseling is counselor-centered. It is based on the assumption that client cannot solve his problems due to lack of information. Counselor help the counselee by informing, explaining, interpreting, and advising about the events or problems. The merits are it is less time consuming, it is related to the interaction between mature and immature, can be used at all levels. So it is used at all levels where the client is not in a position to analyze his own problem. Next type is non-directive counseling. This is reverse to the directive counseling. This is client-centered process. The counselee is the pivot of the whole counseling process. The function of counselor is to create an atmosphere in which the client can work out his problem. Its merits are counselee become independent and self-reliant. So it helps the counselee to become independent and self-reliant and to attain the ability for self-direction. It helps the client to attain integrity and helps to reach his own growth. It helps to attain more suitable adjustment to his situation. This is the comparative analysis of directive and non-directive counseling. As we have already discussed, I have just listed down the points here. Now, at the end, assessment question. In your opinion, what is the most important phase in a counseling process? What do you think? Second question is, do you think implementing school counseling program is important? If yes, then give reasons why it is important. For any queries, you can email me at kudsia.fatima@ue.edu.pk. Thank you.